Small, paper-like squares were unexpectedly found to have fallen out from the pages of an old book. Their diminutive size, paper composition, and the context of their discovery, being hidden or perhaps long forgotten within the confines of a book, immediately raise questions about their true nature and potential contents. What are these tiny pieces of paper? These small, paper-like squares are identified with a high degree of certainty as acid tabs, which is a common slang term for blotter paper that has been impregnated or infused with LSD, lysergic acid diethylamide. LSD is a potent semi-synthetic psychedelic drug known for its profound psychological effects, including altered thoughts, feelings, and awareness of one's surroundings. One of the most common and traditional methods for distributing LSD for individual dosage is by applying a liquid solution of the highly concentrated drug onto sheets of absorbent blotter paper. These sheets are often pre-perforated into numerous small squares, or tabs, each designed to hold and deliver a single measured dose. The blotter paper itself can be plain white or, frequently, decorated with various colorful designs, cartoon characters, or psychedelic artwork. Finding such tabs concealed within the pages of an old book suggests they were likely hidden there for clandestine storage or were simply forgotten by a previous owner over time. Long sheets of a material that looks like metal are observed being draped extensively over the exterior of a building. The observer notes that this application doesn't appear to be a conventional art installation, nor does it resemble standard copper sheeting typically used for roofing or architectural detailing. This unusual and widespread application of metal sheeting over a building prompts the question, what is its intended purpose? This extensive draping of metal sheeting over a building is described by a local observer, privy to the situation, as just some dude's attempt to shield himself from 5G. I'm not kidding. The metal sheeting is being employed in an effort to create a rudimentary Faraday cage around the building. A Faraday cage is an enclosure that is constructed from conductive material or by a mesh of such material, which functions to block external static and non-static electromagnetic fields by causing the electrical charge to distribute itself around the cage's exterior, thereby canceling out the field's effect inside. The person who purchased the building is apparently, and according to the commenter, irrationally and without scientific basis, attempting to shield the structure and its occupants from the perceived harmful effects of 5G, fifth-generation, cellular network signals. While it is true that Faraday cages can effectively block radio waves, the overwhelming scientific consensus is that 5G signals, at the power levels used for public telecommunications, are not harmful to human health and operate within established safety guidelines. The commenter also makes the practical observation that the extensive metal sheeting is loud, likely due to wind causing it to rattle, vibrate, or resonate. Peculiar, blinking canisters were discovered underneath a hotel room bed in Amsterdam. Their electronic nature, clearly indicated by the blinking light, and their unusual and somewhat concealed placement beneath the bed, suggest a specific, possibly monitoring-related or pest control-oriented function. What are these enigmatic, blinking devices found in a hotel setting? These blinking canisters are suggested to be smart bed legs, specifically designed and marketed for the purpose of trapping and/or detecting the presence of bedbugs, Cimex lectularius. Some innovative pest control and hotel supply companies, such as Valpus, whose bed legs are mentioned as a similar example in the original solution, have developed these specialized bed legs. They often feature a design where bedbugs, which typically climb up bed legs from the floor to reach their sleeping human hosts, are intercepted. This might be by means of a smooth, inescapable inner rim or a sticky trap section within the leg into which the bedbugs fall or become stuck. The electronic component with the blinking light might indicate the device's operational status, a low battery warning, or, in more advanced versions, could even signal that a bedbug has been detected and trapped, possibly via a tiny integrated sensor, a camera, or by the bedbug completing an electrical circuit. Hotels sometimes utilize such proactive systems as an early warning mechanism and a preventative measure against bedbug infestations, aiming to detect and address problems before they escalate into a larger issue affecting guests. Children in Pensacola, Florida, have amusingly nicknamed these objects sea turds. They are found underwater on the bayside and are described as being round, soft, or spongy to the touch and dark green in color. Their consistent shape and somewhat unusual texture raise questions about their natural origin or whether they might be man-made. What are these marine formations? These objects are identified simply as mud balls. In coastal marine environments, particularly in bays, estuaries, or areas with fine-grained, cohesive sediment, mud that has a consistency similar to Play-Doh, as described by the original commenter, chunks of this mud can break off from underwater banks, the seabed, or tidal flats, especially during periods of increased wave action, storms, or strong tidal currents. As these dislodged clumps of mud are rolled around on the bottom by the action of waves and currents, they gradually become abraded, compacted, and shaped into relatively uniform, rounded balls. Their color, in this case, dark green, would depend on the specific mineral composition of the local sediment, which can include various clays, silts, and often a significant amount of organic matter, contributing to darker hues. While it's conceivable that pollutants like tar or oil could become incorporated into such formations if present in the environment, mud balls can also be entirely natural occurrences, formed purely from the physical action of water movement on cohesive sediment. Numerous small white and pink balls unexpectedly appeared, seemingly overnight, all over a residential lawn shortly after it was mowed. The homeowner is puzzled because they do not personally use any lawn care service. The white balls are described as being soft enough that a bit can be scraped off with a thumbnail, while the pink ones have a texture that feels almost like hard plastic. What are these mysterious colored pellets that have suddenly materialized and covered the lawn? These white and pink balls are highly likely to be fertilizer pellets. The commenter in the original thread astutely suggests that even if the homeowner themselves doesn't subscribe to a professional lawn care service, it's quite possible that a lawn treatment company made an error and inadvertently treated their lawn instead of a registered client's property nearby, a not entirely uncommon occurrence in suburban neighborhoods. Slow-release fertilizers, which are designed to provide a steady supply of nutrients to grass over an extended period, are very often manufactured and sold in a pelletized or granular form. These pellets can come in a wide variety of colors, including white, pink, blue, green, or brown, depending on the specific chemical formulation, the manufacturer, and any added coatings. The different textures observed by the finder, one type being somewhat scrappable, the other feeling more like hard plastic, could be due to variations in the inert filler materials, the type of nutrient compounds, or the specific coatings used on the pellets, which are often designed to control the rate at which the nutrients dissolve and are released into the soil. It's also possible a mixed fertilizer product containing different types of pellets was applied. A man was observed behaving somewhat furtively while rushing along a hiking trail and also along a nearby roadside in upstate New York. His activity involved leaving little piles of white powder at intervals along his route. He was clearly not a park official or maintenance worker and seemed to be actively trying to avoid contact or interaction with the observers. This suspicious behavior, combined with the deliberate placement of the white powder, raises questions about his actions and the nature of the substance. What could this white powder be, and what was its intended purpose? This white powder is identified as likely being simple, ordinary flour, used as a temporary and biodegradable trail marker by members of a running club, most notably a group that participates in an activity known as hashing, such as the Hash House Harriers. Hashing is a global, non-competitive group running and social activity that combines elements of cross-country running with the fun of a traditional paper chase or scavenger hunt. One or more runners, designated as the hares, are responsible for laying a trail using various markings, traditionally including chalk, flour, shredded paper, or sometimes sawdust, for the rest of the group, known as the hounds or pack, to follow. The somewhat secretive or evasive behavior of the person laying the trail, the hare, is also a characteristic and often humorous part of some hashing traditions, adding to the chase element of the event. Flour is a common and environmentally friendly choice for marking trails in natural areas, as it eventually washes away or biodegrades without causing lasting impact. While engaged in clearing out some side garden beds that were situated adjacent to a house, A metal stake or bar was discovered driven deep into the ground. A substantial wire is securely attached to this stake and then appears to run further into the ground or towards the house. The stake itself is buried more than a foot deep and is estimated to be approximately 8 feet long in total. What is this buried metal stake and its associated wire, which is clearly part of an important and permanent utility installation for the house? This buried metal stake and wire assembly is identified as a crucial component of the house's electrical service grounding system. Specifically, it is a copper ground wire connected to a grounding rod, the stake. The metal rod, typically 8 feet or more in length and made of copper-clad steel or solid copper for excellent conductivity and corrosion resistance, is driven deep into the earth to establish a good electrical connection with the ground. The braided wire, also typically made of copper, is the grounding electrode conductor. This conductor runs from the grounding rod, to which it is securely and permanently clamped, and then connects to the main electrical service panel or breaker box located inside the house. The entire grounding system serves a vital safety function. It provides a low impedance, low resistance path for electrical fault currents, such as those from short circuits, overloaded circuits, or equipment malfunctions, or dangerous surges from lightning strikes, to dissipate safely into the earth. This protects the home's electrical wiring, connected appliances, and, most importantly, its occupants from the severe risks of electrical shock and fire hazards. An individual placed an online order for mulch, but, in a perplexing mix-up, instead received a shipment containing 3 large and heavy rolls of a ribbon-like material. This material is described as having a texture somewhat similar to corn husk. The seller of the mulch has denied that this unexpected material originated from their company. The box containing these rolls is quite substantial, weighing between 50 and 80 pounds. The material itself exhibits high strength when pulled parallel to its length, good tensile strength, but can be pulled apart relatively easily when force is applied horizontally across its width. It almost appears to be composed of individual strong strings held together by some kind of sticky or bonding substance, yet neither side of the material itself is adhesive like conventional tape. What is this unusual, strong, fibrous material that arrived in error? This material is identified as strapping tape, also commonly known as filament tape or banding. It is a heavy-duty type of tape specifically engineered for demanding packaging applications, such as securely closing and reinforcing heavy corrugated cardboard cartons, bundling multiple items together for shipping or storage, or securing lids on crates and pallets. This type of specialized tape typically consists of very strong reinforcing filaments, often made from fiberglass, polyester, or polypropylene strings, which are embedded longitudinally within a pressure-sensitive adhesive matrix and backed by a durable film, commonly polypropylene or polyester. The exceptional tensile strength of the tape comes from these robust longitudinal filaments. Its relative ease of tearing horizontally across the filaments can be a characteristic if the backing material is not equally strong in that direction, or if it's specifically designed to be hand-tearable for some applications without needing a cutting tool. The sticky substance mentioned as holding the strings together is, in fact, the adhesive matrix of the tape itself. When used for bundling or very heavy-duty applications, the ends of such strapping are often joined and tensioned using metal crimp fasteners, buckles, or heat-sealing equipment, rather than relying solely on the tape's own adhesive for ultimate closure strength. The county park located near the observer's residence was recently renovated, and as part of these public improvements, this thing, a tall, somewhat unusual structure, was erected. It is described as being super tall, standing at least 12 feet high. The initial thought of the observer was that it might be a pole supporting security cameras, but upon closer inspection, no camera lenses were visible. The structure is situated in a wide open field within the park, leading to another speculation that it might be related to weather monitoring equipment. The observer remains very curious to determine its actual purpose. What is this tall, multi-component structure in the park? This tall structure is identified as a set of purple martin gourd nesting boxes or a purple martin house. Purple martins, Progne subis, are North America's largest species of swallow. They are colonial nesting birds, meaning they prefer to nest in groups, and in many parts of their range, Particularly in eastern North America, they have become almost entirely dependent on artificial housing provided by humans. This is because their natural nesting cavities, such as old woodpecker holes in dead trees, have become increasingly scarce due to habitat changes. Historically, Native Americans hung hollowed-out natural gourds to attract these beneficial birds. Modern purple martin houses often consist of multiple individual compartments arranged in a multi-story structure, or, as in this case, a collection of artificial replica plastic gourds all mounted on a tall pole. The height, typically 10 to 20 feet, and the placement in an open location, away from tall trees or buildings, are crucial for attracting purple martins, as they prefer unobstructed flight paths to and from their nests. These birds are highly valued for their voracious appetite for flying insects, including mosquitoes and other pests, making them welcome residents in many communities and parks. Discovered discarded on the side of the road, this black, distinctively wavy wire display type object was initially mistaken by the finder for a wine rack. However, upon attempting to place standard wine bottles onto it, they discovered that the bottles didn't sit securely, and in fact, looked as though they were precariously balanced and on the verge of falling. This clear instability and poor fit for wine bottles strongly suggests that its intended purpose was for holding items of a different size and shape. What is this wire rack actually designed to hold? This black, wavy wire rack is identified as an old CD, compact disc rack. In the decades preceding the widespread adoption of digital music streaming services and downloadable music files, physical CD collections were extremely common, and a vast array of storage racks, towers, and cabinets were designed and marketed to hold them. These CD racks often featured slots, individual compartments, or wavy wire designs like this one, which were specifically sized and shaped to accommodate standard CD jewel cases, the clear plastic hinged boxes that CDs were sold in. Such designs allowed CDs to be stored upright, typically with their spines facing outwards, making it easy for users to browse their music collection and select a disc. Wine bottles, being significantly larger, heavier, rounder, and having a different center of gravity than thin, square CD cases, would not fit properly or securely in a rack designed for CDs. This explains the instability and poor fit observed by the finder when attempting to use it as a wine rack. This small metal piece is an integral part of a newly assembled MasterChef 5-burner BBQ grill. The finder has diligently consulted the assembly manual and noticed that this particular component is clearly shown in all the illustrative images. However, perplexingly, it is never directly referenced by name or part number, nor is its installation or use mentioned in any of the assembly steps. Inquiries made to several other people have also failed to shed light on its purpose. What is this enigmatic, seemingly undocumented metal piece on the new BBQ grill? This small metal piece, often found attached by a short chain or a thin wire to the side panel or frame of a gas BBQ grill, is a matchstick holder. Its specific and rather important purpose is to provide a safe and convenient way to manually light the grill's burners in the event that the primary electronic ignition system, the push button or rotary igniter, fails to operate or is not working correctly for any reason. To use it, one would typically place a lit match, preferably a long kitchen match, into the looped C-shaped or forked end of the metal holder. This holder then extends the reach of the lit match, allowing the user to safely insert it through the grill grates and down towards the gas burner that needs to be ignited without risking burned fingers from the flame or a sudden flare-up of gas. It's a simple but essential backup lighting feature included on many gas grills to ensure you can always get your barbecue started. A strange aperture, measuring approximately 1 inch in diameter, has been discovered in a raised garden bed. The entrance to this hole is conspicuously surrounded by a collar or turret made of hardened mud, giving it a distinctive appearance. A banana is provided in the accompanying image for scale, indicating the relative size of the structure. What creature or natural process is responsible for creating this unique, muddy opening in the garden? This distinctive structure is identified as a burrowing crayfish chimney. Certain species of freshwater crayfish, also commonly known as crawfish or crawdads, are semi-terrestrial and are adapted to excavate extensive and often complex burrows in moist soil. While they are often found near permanent water sources like streams, ponds, or swamps, some species can also establish burrows in lawns, garden beds, or fields if the water table is sufficiently high to keep their burrows moist. As these crayfish dig their burrows, they meticulously push the excavated mud and soil pellets up to the surface around the entrance of the burrow. This accumulated material typically forms a distinctive volcano-like mound or a cylindrical chimney composed of hardened mud pellets. These chimneys can vary considerably in height and shape, depending on the crayfish species and local soil conditions, but their presence is a clear and unmistakable sign of active crayfish habitation. The hole itself is the entrance to their underground tunnel system, which can extend several feet deep to reach groundwater. This small yet relatively heavy object, prominently bearing the iconic Shell Oil Company logo, was found in the sand on a beach in Dakar, Senegal. Its precise original nature is unclear, but its distinct branding is the most salient feature for identification. What was this Shell-logoed item originally? According to the finder's father, who is described as a dedicated collector of Shell Oil Company memorabilia, this item is guaranteed to be the decorative fob or emblem from a broken keyring. He explains that there should ideally be a small hole, loop, or attachment point, perhaps on the top edge of the Shell emblem, where the metal ring component of the keyring would originally have been attached. Keyrings featuring well-known corporate logos, such as the distinctive Shell pecten, were, and indeed still are, very common promotional items, customer giveaways, or souvenirs sold at service stations or by the company. Over time, especially if lost and subjected to the harsh, corrosive environment of a sandy beach with saltwater exposure, the less robust metal ring part could easily break off, corrode away completely, or become detached, leaving only the more durable decorative fob or emblem, like the one found, as a remnant. This plastic object, measuring approximately 12 inches in length, is observed hanging from the ceiling in a garage. The initial photograph provided in the query only shows a portion of it, making a definitive identification difficult based on that limited view. A helpful commenter suggests that the finder should slide the object out of its holder if possible to take additional pictures that show the entire item, as it currently resembles accordion folded paper contained within some kind of frame or casing. What could this garage ceiling mounted, paper-filled object be? Without having the benefit of seeing the full object or more detailed images, a precise identification remains challenging. However, the description of accordion folded paper in some kind of frame, especially considering its approximate 12-inch length and its somewhat unusual location hanging from a garage ceiling, could point to a few possibilities. If it's an older item, it might be an old-style pull-down paper shop towel dispenser, where the accordion folded paper towels are housed in a metal or plastic casing. Alternatively, if the paper is more decorative, it could potentially be a type of collapsible paper lantern or a festive paper decoration, though its utilitarian garage location makes this less likely unless it's simply being stored there out of season. If the frame is more robust and the paper is a filter medium, it could even be a component from an antique bellows. If the paper is more like treated fabric or leather, or less likely given paper, a part of a very old air filter system for a workshop. More detailed images showing the entire object and its construction would be crucial for a more confident identification. A small plastic tube, which is filled with an orangish-looking liquid and sealed with an orange-colored stopper or end cap, was unexpectedly found in a living room. Its origin is unknown, and preliminary online searches for a matching item have been unsuccessful in yielding a clear identification. What is this small, liquid-filled plastic tube with a distinctive stopper? This small plastic tube containing a colored liquid and featuring a stopper is identified as a fountain pen ink cartridge. Fountain pens, unlike ballpoint or rollerball pens, use liquid ink, which is often supplied in these convenient, disposable plastic cartridges. The cartridge is designed to be inserted into the section or barrel of the fountain pen. A mechanism within the pen then pierces the seal of the cartridge, which is often a small plastic ball or a thin membrane located at the end of the cartridge that connects to the pen's feed system, rather than the visible stopper, which might be the removable end cap or part of the packaging. Once pierced, the ink flows from the cartridge through the pen's feed to the nib, allowing the user to write. Fountain pen ink cartridges come in a wide variety of colors, including various shades of orange, red, brown, blue, black, and many others. They are a common and practical way to refill fountain pens without the mess of bottled ink. If you love uncovering strange and mysterious objects, hit that like button and subscribe. Stay curious. More finds coming soon.